What's up YouTube, Mr. Llama here, and today we're going to be talking through the Druid Fury Guide. I'm going to try and go through all the stuff like skills, stats, gear, mercenary, leveling, all of the stuff that you need to have a great time playing through this character build. Now the first thing I'll start out with here is we're going to have the Druid himself and what his frames look like. You can see his starting stats, his life and mana per character level and stat point right there. Overall, he's a little bit weaker at the start in terms of just being more of like a glass cannon, but he definitely gains, and especially when you get like an Oak Sage going or everything later in the game, he definitely becomes a little bit tankier. Additionally, we have all of his breakpoints and frames down in the bottom right. However, these do change based on him being a druid who's a bear, or if he's a wolf or any of that stuff. All of those things will change. So I have a link in the description down below where I have a video talking through all the breakpoints and everything like that, and there'll be more information there for you. I would definitely recommend checking that out if you're confused about any of that stuff. Taking a look at the final skill build right here, you can see this is how I would build the character out. So 20 in Fury, 20 in Feral Rage, 20 in Werewolf and Lycanthropy. Whoa, oopsies. Didn't mean to do that. Go there and there. And then Heart of the Wolverine or Oak Sage is kind of one of the two that you want to max. Pretty much up to you. This one's going to give you more damage and attack rating. This one is going to give you more life. Really up to you and your desire. After that, I like to get a single point in a Grizzly just to have a tanky little friend. You can also get some Dyers if you want to help you as well. Pretty much up to you and how you want to play it with a little bit of this stuff. But this is the general build that I would say is a final build for this character. Now, how do I level to that right there? So obviously you can start out with level 1 in Werewolf right there. And then Lycanthropy is going to give you a nice plus to life. So things to note is points into Werewolf will give you additional attack rating and attack speed. So you definitely want to put a few points there early. Points here will give you additional duration and maximum life. So it's kind of nice in the early stages to kind of put a few points into each of them. I really like that. Additionally, you're not going to get anything else until level 12, and even that's not super great. I honestly would recommend being an elemental druid, going through and leveling, and using one of those guides that I've done. But if you're really set on doing this, you can go through here, and even honestly getting a few points into Poison Creeper early on will actually be really nice. The Poison Creeper at like level 1, 2, 3, 4 and those like early levels can take you through a couple of acts easily by himself, which can help you get to level 12 and really help get you into like Feral Rage and then up to Rabies, where you can actually start to do a little bit more damage. So you can kind of bounce points back and forth. I'd like to definitely get more here to get that attack speed and attack rating up. That's very helpful for this character because it's going to feel very slow trying to hit everything, and being able to hit stuff faster is going to be helpful. But if you do feel like you need a little bit more max life, you can start boosting the life out over here. Really kind of up to you how you want to balance that. Either way, eventually you will be maxing all this stuff. Now, with the leveling, I would definitely say get to Rabies and use Rabies to get you all the way to Fury. Rabies is actually very strong, and you can see it also gets a boost from Poison Creeper. So once again, if you were spending some points in Poison Creeper early on to get some added damage, well, now your Rabies are going to deal even more poison, and you can run around and use this through a lot of normal and a decent amount of nightmare, and that can get you easily level 30 and up, where you can turn into a Fury Druid. And so this is where you can really start to add up this boost and start maxing this out. And you can see this has a really nice damage boost on it, 593% at level 30 here. Additionally, nice attack bonus boost, and then you're still getting the bonuses from the werewolf form that you're in and the life bonus right here. So it really ends up being a very strong character. The reason that you'll put points into Feral Rage, and even you don't have to put a ton into it, but people like to have a point in Feral Rage, is because you can have this ability to constantly steal increasing amounts of life. So basically, you'll go into form, and then you can go and use Feral Rage. I'll show you really fast. And so then you have this ball up, and this ball will stay around you, and so people will just switch between this and then Fury, because you don't have to constantly hit to always keep this ball up. You just need to like hit one time to keep it up, right? So this is a very like common thing for you as you go, and you just leave the Feral Rage. The duration you can see is 20 seconds right there, which is fantastic. So once every 20 seconds, you need to hit with Feral Rage, and then you can just hit with Fury all the other time. So a lot of people, like I said, like to just have that for that piece right there so that they can have the constant lifesteal for their character. Because you can see the lifesteal is massive, right? At level 30 there, 4 to 128% lifesteal. So when you stack it up and it's really large, you're going to have massive lifesteal, and that's super helpful for the character. Like we talked about with summons, you can kind of pick and choose how you want to have the summons. I like the Heart of the Wolverine because, again, more damage, more attack rating, going to be super helpful, and this character is really just going to be able to go around smacking dudes, having a great time. For stats, I like to go enough strength for gear, enough dexterity for gear, and then everything else into vitality. Pretty much the way that you're going to run a lot of characters. Don't need anything in energy for this character, really. So really just trying to get as much vitality as you can there. And once again, you'll really want to just note like, okay, I need 136 dex for this grief. I need 156 for this storm shield. So I just need that, and everything else can go here. And I guess you could run max block if you're running storm shield here. So that would actually be a potential idea if you wanted. I wonder if the block frames are good or bad for the Wolf is the only thing that I'd want to think about and wonder about. But I think a lot of the block frames are pretty trash. I know the Bear has horrible block frames. I think that the Wolf also does, and the Druid just in general does. So generally you're not going to be running max block. Okay, it's still the same as the default Druid. Okay, which are still bad. So yeah, the block frames are not great. I wouldn't recommend it for all of that. Just kind of enough for gear. Everything else into vitality is my recommendation there. Now, what is the gear sets that I'm kind of looking at and running? The first one is just going to be your standard, kind of like a safety damage build. This is where you're running this for all of the damage reduced, right? 35% damage reduced from Storm Shield. You can have your Grief for just massive damage. It just is insane how good it is. Jalal's is super great. You get the nice bonus to attack and hit recovery. You get the shape-shifting skills and Druid skills. And the res, mana per kill, strength energy. I mean, it just has so many good stats on it. It's crazy. High Lords to get that deadly strike, Fortitude for the massive ED, Laying of Hands for damage to demons, IAS, big fire res, Cannot Be Frozen right here from Ravenfrost, String of Ears for damage reduce and for the lifesteal as well, BK Ring for plus to life and plus to skills there if you want. You could also run like a dual leech ring here if you wanted, but this is even just more leech. And then Gore Riders are your standard melee. Boots, Crushing Blow, Deadly Strike, and Open Wounds. You can just murder so many things so quickly with this, and it's just a very, very strong build. Now, you can also put some other items if you would like. You can do things like a Bariza, and you can actually smack a bunch of stuff with your Bariza, which is nice. So you go over here and... right? A lot of people kind of use this. That's a very cheap, fun option. You could also do Immortal King's Stone Crusher. That's got some really nice big damage. A lot of big mauls can be really fun to just kind of carry around and smack with and whatever. But yeah, these are just some like fun two-hander options. And then my favorite is, and I found this, my perfect ethereal upgraded Rib Cracker. You just go whack, 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 whack. Super fast, massive damage, massive crushing blow, Obviously, you would put a Zod into it because that's just going to be necessary. Otherwise, it's going to break. But just gorgeous. I got the Zod rune right next to it, so, you know. That's right there. And then otherwise, you can go for stuff. I mean, if you're going for maybe like Ubers, you can put COH on for it. You can put Drax on so that you can get the chance for life tap. I mean, that can be good right there. You can put on a T-Gods as well, right? If you're trying to like Ubers with the character. Let me see where my T-Gods is. There it is. You could also use a Dungos on the character. There's definitely some places that you can kind of swap some gear in and out for sure for this character. Really just depends what you feel like with it. But there's a few different ways. It's definitely a very solid Uber killing character though, and just very solid character overall. It does a ton of damage and you can just destroy things. Absolutely. So one of the top melee builds once he gets some gear going, most definitely. If you're looking for some budget build items, I mean, I already talked a little bit about like Bariza and Immortal King. You can also use Oath. You could use Obedience, which this is an Eth Obedience, but you could just make a non-Eth one. Get some really big damage from having that. The nice Crushing Blow, the chance for enchant is good. You could make an Honor rune word. Here's one in a one-hander. You could put this in a one-hander or a two-hander and use this. If you don't have Cannot Be Frozen, then you're going to definitely want Rhyme Shield. This is just going to be perfect to get your Cannot Be Frozen. You will need this on a melee character, so this is just going to be super important for you. Additionally, if you do have that, maybe go for like Ancient's Pledge. You could go for Mosers. You could go for a Sanctuary or something else. You kind of have some other options for your character right there. But you need Cannot Be Frozen. So if you can't get it there, maybe you get it from Death's Guard. Maybe maybe you get it from, obviously Ravenfrost is the great spot, but maybe you get it from an armor like the Spirit Shroud, or you get it from Duriel's Shell. You really have to be a little creative sometimes with these characters and find specific affixes like Cannot Be Frozen and kind of build around it with your other gear. Other armors that can be good. Stealth is a great quick starter, but I'd love to find a Twitch Throw. Duress would be fantastic to build into. Treachery would be fantastic to build into. So I would love either one of those for sure. Venom is also from Treachery, going to add poison damage, so that's even more right there to help you out. Smoke is really nice for the resistances, so you can look for that. So you've got a lot of options for all of those things. In terms of belts, I mean, we talked a little bit about, the String of Ears, but Gold Wrap is also good. Nosferatu's Coil is good. Like I said, Verdungos is nice for the character. Rings and Ammies, you're looking at Ravenfrost. But, I mean, even something like this is just a nice ring to have for your character that you can just put on there, be in a good spot, get your res, strength, attack rating, all of those things really help your character out. Atma's Metal Grid would be nice amulets. Mahim Oak is a nice amulet. There's even like Saracen's Chance. Attributes and resistances, love it. Super nice, super chill, nice and easy. In terms of helmets, you're probably looking to stack up some like resistances and stuff if you can't get a Jalal's or whatever. But something like a Rock Stopper would just be super clutch, super good, and absolutely amazing for this character. You're not looking as much for like the plus to skills and things, but big resistances like this and damage reduction, vitality, life, all of those are going to be super helpful. And then things that can like boost your attack rating and stuff if you're having any trouble hitting. For gloves, I'm looking for attack speed mainly, Blood Fist, Sanders, random 20 IAS gloves I can buy. That's going to be super nice early on. For boots, I'm looking for just like faster run walk, resistance, kind of all the standards, gnats and things, sandstorm treks, water walks, inferno strides, whatever pieces right there are going to be very solid. So that kind of closes out gear for this character. Charm-wise, you definitely want to get max damage, attack rating sorts of charms, and some like big life and res, and maybe some hit recovery charms. For your Mercenary, I would definitely say that I like an Act 2 Mercenary right here. You could run a Faith on an Act 1 Mercenary if you want that fanaticism. But I like an Act 2 Mercenary, and honestly, I think Reaper's Toll is going to be probably my preferred, because you're going to get some very nice Decrepify, which will help with any physical immunes. But that, Fortitude, Andes is all really good. Obedience is also good for the Mercenary. Insight isn't bad. Get some nice damage cheap and early. Honor's good for him. Bone Hew and Tomb Reaver are nice. Here's a Treachery if you can't get Fort. Shaft Stop, Stone, Gladiator's Bane. Lots of armors can be decent as well. And then these helms can also be good for you, but great for the Mercenary. Crown of Thieves, Talrashes, Gaze. I mean, it's just going to be all pretty solid stuff. So, you know, like we kind of said there, this character really just overall does a fantastic job. He's just going to murder a lot of mobs very quickly. He has good attack speed, good damage, everything like that. Good attack rating. You can see you've got 11k right there. Not going to run into any issues. Very survivable. And then you also have, of course, your lifesteal, which is going to help you out a lot by just being able to boost that up a little bit with your Feral Rage. And then it's just like so hard to die on this character, right? He just absolutely murders and steals everything and just doesn't really run into any issues. So with that being said, I hope that this was a helpful guide for you. I hope you learned a lot, and you can now go and make a fun Fury Druid and play through the game. Leave some comments down below about what you think, if you have any thoughts or opinions on it. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace, YouTube.